couple of hours. We love to hear from everyone that's watching. You are welcome to send your questions to wildearth.tv/questions or scan the QR code there on your screen. If you've been here before or it's your first time, you can join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth, or again scan the QR code. Waterbuck giving a lovely demonstration here of where they get their name from. You can also send your questions and comments through via WhatsApp on +27 786 302 336. We are delighted you are all here this afternoon to see what these fabulous cameras have to offer. These waterbuck are known for being very water dependent. We don't actually, surprisingly, see them feeding in here too often. They will often, if there's a threat or a predator in an area, they will run into the water. There's an escape route, but this is I don't want to anthropomorphise. This looks like a nice family group here. Nice big male with those big horns. Mercedes Bean. Greetings Wild Earth crew and chatters. Happy Friday. It is Friday, isn't it? I'd kind of forgotten that. But happy Friday indeed. I hope you've all got some exciting plans for your weekends. Zebra coming in up the hill. Are you going to come up or walk around, Zebra? Busy at the waterhole here this afternoon. Wow, this is a big group of zebra coming in, and look how and lots of waterbuck here today. Deb Davis, good afternoon. Hello to Mika, and you are joining us from Pennsylvania, US. Old Punkster. Hello, Kelly and everyone. Friday, yay! Hello, Old Punkster. Thank you for taking the time to join. Hendrik, good afternoon. Oh, Catherine. Hi, Kelly and Mika. Hello, Catherine. Thank you for joining us. See there's two male impalas still chasing each other around here. I actually found out recently that female impala, they were coming to estrus. These males will chase around to acquire mating rights. And if a female impala has not fallen pregnant during the first round of rutting, she'll actually recycle and come back into estrus again. I didn't know that. That's very clever nature. These waterbuck deciding to depart from the water now. Often waterbuck are a good sign if you're not sure where water is, if you ever get lost in the bush and you see waterbuck, you have normally got a good idea that there's water not too far away. They don't have to sort of always be right next to the water, but they are often found close to a good water source. Blade Kamali, you're asking, can zebra reach 30 years of age? Our textbooks say the average life expectancy of zebra is around about 20. Whether or not it will be any different in captivity, possibly. Many many animals' lifespans are extended if they're in captivity because they get it much easier in captivity. Possibly not the freedom to roam and all the rest of it, but they do. There's food, there's water. So normally in the wild, no. I'm not going to say never because I don't like saying never, because so often we never know.
Join me, Andrew Wistenholm, for an indescribable 6-night stay in the beautiful Albany of the Eastern Cape at Amakhala Game Reserve. Now, this trip is going to be action-packed with a lot of storytelling, adventure, as well as the opportunity to make everlasting memories. We'll be exploring the best of Amakhala by staying at 2 luxury lodges, which will be the perfect blend of comfort as well as wilderness. Book your spot today and let's get ready to explore the wild beauty of Amakhala.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly here in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marlow Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Palumba and the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
But nature is beyond amazing. Nature is just everything.
We'd love to hear from you. Questions, comments about biology, Africa, safari.
She's using her tail like a monkey.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Oh, that's very nice. There was actually some buffalo here earlier, but they seem to have moved off. But this is a lovely group of elephants here at Sarandella in Sawneybush. Lovely light here on this camera. A bit of wind going on. Let me turn that down a little bit actually. We have had a few, there's a terrapin there as well. We have had a few quite windy days here in the last couple of days. It can be quite a risk. This time of year for fire, we have to be very, very careful. Okay, I am going to be completely honest with you all now. I had homework. Someone did report in yesterday that brand new research has been established that elephants appear to have different names for one another. I had a very quick look last night. I didn't find anything, but that's not to say it's not there at all. I'm going to need a little bit... Oh, hello. I'm going to need a little bit more time to research that, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I personally believe that elephants do have quite a high level of emotional intelligence. We do see very close bonds within breeding herds. If anyone has ever watched, I've never seen it, well, lots of people have never seen it, an elephant giving birth, how the rest of the family behaves. Very, very intuitive behaviour. I personally think they have a lot of big feelings, elephants. Picasso, hello, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Brilliant question. If you were to shave a zebra down to the skin, would you still see the pattern? From what I understand, zebra skin is black. It's very dark. If you look around their eyes, around their nose, around their genitals, it's not really furry, and that skin is very, very dark. So I don't believe we would see a pattern. And I think it is a really, really interesting point, though. I think it's where the fur on the skin, if there is a cut or a claw mark through it, you're saying, why is the pattern so disrupted when a lion has clawed it? I think if the skin heals differently, then the fur also realigns because it's attached to the skin, is my understanding anyway, Picasso. Alex, Ellie contest, synchronised drinking. It does make me happy when animals line up in straight lines, especially zebra. It's actually really difficult. But let's see if these guys have had their drink now and they're just happy to move on. There was buffalo here earlier, but buffalo are also, not all the time, especially old males, they will hang around pans and in pans for hours. But from my experience, buffalo often come for a drink and then carry on again. Many animals do. Water points, water holes, they can be risky and busy. Even if not risky, they can be busy and disruptive. It's not a great place to relax. I know we have a very strict rule in lots of the reserves that we're not allowed to get out our vehicles or be disruptive around water points, because lots of animals have come a long way to get their drink of water. Oh no, they're just moving around the other side there. Kimber, I'm not sure if this is Kimber II, Kimber LL, Kimber 3, Kimber. You are asking, For how long do elephants suckle their young ones? This is a really interesting question because I actually had this discussion with someone. Well, it was mentioned online a couple of days ago. Is this a boy who's going to go and bother everyone? Technically, textbooks say elephants should be weaned by that time they're about 2. Years ago, I saw an elephant kneeling down to suckle, which completely confused me. Look at this bull on the left here. Look, they look big until you see a big boy. See, look, he's disrupted everyone now. Don't disrupt everyone, boy. That breeding herd looked big until the big boy walked in, hey? Huge size differences. But Kimber, books say till they're about 2, but there's so many variations and variables in many things, and I actually did some reading around. I saw an elephant kneeling on its front legs to suckle, and I saw on social media a couple of days ago that someone had taken a picture of an elephant that was laying down, like back knees and front knees on the floor to suckle, and they have been known to suckle till they're about 10. It's most unusual. As a rule, 2, 3, 2. Depending on resources, depending on if mum's got another calf, various different things. As a rule, 2, 3, 2, but it has been recorded up till the age of about 10. Someone actually told me the other day, which was a great guideline, and I only heard it a few months ago. Sometimes how long an animal is pregnant for can sometimes be a guideline to around how long it takes for offspring to be weaned. It's not completely accurate. I found that actually really useful, but there's so many variables. See, look, he's disrupted all of those now. Now they're making their way off into the background. That looks like there might be tamborti trees there that they're stood under, possibly. Tamborti trees they're one of the trees here that give beautiful colour changes, autumnal winter colours. They go reds and oranges. I'm actually looking out the window now. There's some of the combretums. They do sort of change colour, the leaves will go yellow and start falling, but we don't really get those insane autumn reds, oranges, like in many countries in the northern hemisphere. But these tamborti trees are one of the trees that will change colour. It does look like it's a tamborti, actually, looking at the bark there. Trixie Rose, happy Friday, Earthlings. Hi, Kelly. FC. Maybe the resident animal whisperer, Steve F, can try to verify the elephant names debate. Possibly. Look at the size difference between this male and this cow here. It can be quite traumatic for some females when they first mate. Huge size disparities. I would love to know how. I'm totally not discounting that it's true at all, but I'd love to know how someone worked it out. I suppose you would observe and record sound and see if different decibels or different frequencies or different repetitive sounds were made around each other. Spas, hi Spas. Yes, there's lots of elephants in Thorny Bush. They've got quite a healthy population. I have guided there quite a few times. They've actually got a really nice diversity of animals there. They've got lots of impala, they've got lots of general game, zebra, giraffe. They've got a good lion population. They've got a good leopard population. Buffalo. Hello, Terrapin. Sunning yourself there. They've got a good terrapin population. But Thorny Bush is open to the Greater Kruger, so those elephants could walk away from Serendella, through Thorny Bush and out into the Kruger Park. It is an open system. They have got good densities of animals there. Well, good healthy populations. I haven't seen cheetah there. No, I don't think. I've never worked in there full time, but I've guided in there 8, 9, 10 times. I've never seen cheetah in there because there is quite a healthy lion population, which can often deter cheetah. Also, there's quite a few thick areas which are not ideal for cheetah. And they've got, there was, again, they move vastly, but I've seen also wild dogs in Thorny Bush many times.
South Africa's wild places are closer than you think because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
Run around yesterday, but it was quite windy there yesterday, and I personally think they were all a bit flustered by the wind. Okay, I think apparently the buffalo have come back to Serendella, so I would love to go over and have a look at these buffalo. It's not often we get a chance to see buffalo on the camera, so I think let's go and have have a look and see who's there. Hey, hello. Oh, there's a couple of lovely big males in the water there. Look at that big boss on this nice big male. They have huge solid horn structures that go right the way across the top of their heads. If anyone has ever, or maybe you have, maybe you haven't, tried to pick up a buffalo skull, they are very, very weighty. We often see big herds of buffalo. And I have seen them in thorny bush oftentimes. And again, these buffalo have come down, had a drink, they do their thing, and then they will disappear off back, excuse me, back into the bush again. Yeah, it's quite windy over there in thorny bush there as well. Buffalo will spend a lot of time moving throughout the year looking for grass. They are sort of obligate grazers. They can and do only feed on grass, and they will just keep moving to find the best food resources. Actually look like quite a small group. Buffalo herds, unlike elephants, are often led, so to speak, by males. They're called pathfinders, and it will often be the males that sort of, not exactly usher, but they will manage movements of the herd. I did see there was quite a young one in there. There was buffalo drinking here just before the show started, so I'll be interested to see if this is maybe different groups coming down to drink and then leaving, and then the next group goes, or they're just sort of hanging out here. There's certainly worse places to be hanging around as by the waterhole. Often big herds of buffalo will start to form, and the herds will increase in size, often in the wetter months when there's more food availability. And then they can sometimes, not always, but they can sometimes start to fragment again as food resources decline. If there's not much grass, you don't want 1,000 of you all walking over the same bit of grass of which there wasn't much in the first place. You can see there's not much grass here, and those are definitely tambourti trees. Those tambourti trees are actually toxic, those trees that have got sort of reds on them there. Okay, our buffalo have departed. I'll be interested to see if they do come back though. If it is a maybe fragmented herd of buffalo that are taking it in turns to come for a drink. But I think let's head across to Oliphants, where we might have some snoozy hippos. Hippos don't come out the water during the day. Yeah, this is incorrect. There's one. There's lots. Especially during the dry season. Animals have to forage further, work harder. These mega herbivores have to spend a lot of time foraging, looking for enough food to sustain those huge bulks. This is it's like a little family pod of hippos. You'll often find hippos in small family groups. Again, numbers often depend on the resources, so they're not sort of, would rather not form massive groups, but often when water levels drop and reduce, they will be forced into bigger and bigger groups because there's not enough water for them to all have a nice separate little bit. I have often wondered, I wonder lots of things. I have often wondered why hippos would lay in the sun like that. And they don't need to warm up. They're mammals. They can regulate their own body temperature, and they're not out of the water feeding. Yeah, they're laying in the sun, so people might say they're sunbathing, but why? I need to know why. The answer to all these things, it's this is what I enjoy asking now. Deb Davis, taking a nap while the kids play, quite possibly. Mindy, I didn't even see that you'd asked that before I started that conversation. Do you think they come out because the water is cooler than the air temperature? It probably is, but I wouldn't have thought it's like cold enough for them to get cold. They're quite substantial animals. You know, if it was a little small, skinny little something living in the water, they might get cold. But I'm not too sure, because we know their skin is sensitive. And while yes, we have dropped from those insane summer temperatures. I mean, today's a little bit cooler, but this is Oliphants West. This is quite close to where I am. It's like 25 degrees. And if you sit in that sun, it's toasty. But maybe that water does get a little bit chilly. But they do it, I've seen them doing it in the summer when it's sort of 40 degrees. And they do have sensitive skin. And I've often seen hippos like, and I'm like, wow, I like to have a bit of a tan, but not even I would. Well, I might sit out for 20 minutes, but no more than that. Another homework question that I have also not completed today. It was a brilliant question from Catherine yesterday because I actually screenshot it so I didn't forget it. Was why are mammals born male and female at a similar ratio, even if a species requires less males for reproduction? And I thought that was a brilliant question, and I don't have an answer yet, but just as I was about to fall asleep last night, because these are the things that I think about a lot of the time, I'm not sure exactly how it would work or how nature would devise it, but my brain went to genetic diversity. If there were, I don't know, say you need 50 females and 1 male, if only 2 males were born and 1 got eaten, and the one that didn't get eaten had, I don't know, a genetic deformity, then everyone's in trouble. So maybe it's related to genetic diversity in males. If there are lots of males, they will fight, which will mean the strongest will survive, which will perpetuate the strongest genes, etc., etc. That's the best I could come up with on my own last night.
He is such a handsome young male. Look at that pose. Absolutely beautiful.
Every guide in Africa has been on an endless quest for the ultimate bush wear. Until now, Rugged Wear has a huge range of amazing bush gear for every wild situation. In the midday heat, those chilly winter mornings, in the storms of summer. Rugged Wear has the bush kit for every wild occasion. Locally made in South Africa, crafted with precision, stitched with quality.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC.
Hyenas love bathing.
It can sometimes be environmental, it can also be genetic. Something did come back saying that, looks like a shell back there. It can be genetic, so if a crocodile is particularly pale, then their offspring might also be pale. Pigmentation can change depending on environment, but there's certainly not colour change reptiles like a chameleon is. And those different colorations, I guess, are just variations in the species, the same as we would have, you know, red hair or blonde hair or black hair. These crocodiles can be lighter or darker or somewhere in between. Ooh, Julian Thomas. I love this statement. In nature, the two words not to use are never and always about animal behaviour in particular. Right? Tell me about it, Julian. I don't recognise your name too well, but if you listen to this often, and I'm sure a lot of the other naturalists give similar responses, but I'm always very reticent to say, yes, that is correct, or no, that is incorrect. That's why I often dance around a subject and just share my thought processing over it, because there's many things in many books, and I have many books, and I've read many books, but I've actually been using this book again recently, but I've checked it a couple of times, and it's published in 1999, which in scientific advancement years is currently nothing. Is that a... I want to say that's a crocodile, but it looks too small, but I'm struggling to get a scale. David, I think it was a shell duck. I gently muttered under my breath, I think that's a shell duck. I wasn't too sure. This crocodile looks small to me compared to the others. Could we, if we could zoom out so I can get a bit more, because that's an elephant's footprint behind there, and that crocodile is only sort of 3 elephant footprints long, and I thought the towel crocodiles were bigger than that. Oh, I would love to go and have a look at a kingfisher in a tree at Serendella. It's pumping over at Serendella today. But I'm confused by the size of that crocodile. Oh, elephants, buffalo, kingfisher indeed. Good shout, FC. FC, can you tell me what kingfisher that was? Then I will be super impressed. Yes, David, I think that was a shell duck. That is absolutely brilliant, FC. Well played. They said they couldn't confirm the identity of the kingfish because they need to see the colours. Obviously been listening to the show frequently and knowing that that's what we always say. Ah, look how nice that is. 2 out of 5. Sharing so nicely. There are really good sightings. I've had some really, really nice sightings in Thorny Bush. And it is open to Kruger, so there is a nice movement of animals there. But I see we've been seeing this Serendella camera more and more recently. So that's... See these? These are 3 males, but you can see the different coloration on the male in the front there. Oh look, there's another one at the back. The one at the front, I know that's a male because he's got a penis sheath between his legs, which always helps me. But much more pale than those 2 big adult bulls. He's just wandering off there. And then a little group of elephants over the other side there. And Minty Tillipal, they will indeed flutter. The crocodiles will sort of guttural fluttering. They will do that the same as birds will, but it looked like they were just chilling there with their mouth open there to me. But yeah, it is another method of calling. Catherine, hi. Thank you for checking in. You did some research yourself. Brilliant. This is what it's about. We so don't know everything. And anyone that says, who was it that said a minute ago? Julian Thomas. Never say never or always, because we just don't know. But that's the joy of having these conversations, this amazing live interactive discussion platform, is we can all muse things together. We all want to know. We're all interested, and we can all go away and research it together. And Catherine, you also did some research. You learnt a lot of unrelated things on the way. Yes, that happens too. You end up down a deep. When I was doing my canine behaviour stuff, you start looking up one thing, and 7 hours later you end up on a completely different topic that's got something to do with DNA research in Serbia, and it's like, oh, that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. But how joyous that we have so much access to so much information out there. You never got a real answer either. Genetic diversity is a great point. Yeah, I thought of it literally at midnight last night. I thought, oh, if there's only 5 males and they don't have strong, 4 of them don't have strong digestive systems, and the one that did gets eaten, then you're left with loads of offspring with weak genetics. So that's the best I could come up with, Catherine. But thank you for also trying. But that's what it's about. It's interactive. It's thinking out loud together. How boring would it be if every question that came through, if everything just go, oh yes, no, they don't live till they're 30. Yes, this happens. No, this doesn't happen. How boring. Look at this big boy with I'm interested actually what if they're red or yellow-billed oxpeckers. We often see yellow-billed oxpeckers on buffalo, but FC, I would need to see the colours to be able to tell you one way or the other. Often see yellow-billed oxpeckers. Yellow-billed oxpeckers are actually becoming more prevalent, I think, anyway, on some of the larger mammals. It used to be very unusual to see yellow-billed, but I think they're becoming more prevalent and being seen further south, I believe. Alex, you're saying elephants are mostly disciplined, mostly, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. But look at how nicely they're all sharing. I might actually try and find out if there's sort of a resident herd. Okay, I'm going to try and show me the colours. No, I think that... I don't know. Come on, everyone that's watching, help me. My laptop's... Part of me is saying that the part of the beak closest to the face does have a bit of yellow on it. I see they've got yellow eyes. Oh, no. Cancel. No, I think they're red-billed oxpeckers. Which are significantly more common. I keep getting sort of flashes of yellow, but my laptop's average, and I think that's just the eyes moving around, but my laptop's not quite keeping up with it. Oh, this boy's having a big drink, hey? If anyone has an excellent HD screen and they can indeed see yellow on the top of these oxpeckers' beaks, you're more than welcome to point it out to me. I would love to be corrected. But we must keep an eye out, though. It's just a bit exciting to see yellow-billed oxpeckers still, I think. Another question that we often get asked is if we go to that other buffalo,
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website. Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing.
Incredible.
Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. The best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Julian Thomas, you've just been scrolling through the Serendella cam itself, frame by frame, and you think it was a striped kingfisher. There are definitely striped kingfishers in Thorny Bush because I've seen them now. Hold on, I can actually check my Thorny Bush bird list. Let's really do it properly. My lists. I didn't actually try that hard in Thorny Bush. Yes, I've seen a striped kingfisher in Thorny Bush. Bizarrely, I recorded it at 8 o'clock or 5 to 8 at night on the 1st of July 2022. So it could well be, I concur. Thank you very much for frame by frame bird analysis, Julian. Hugely appreciated. Trixie Rose, Kelly, you wonder if feeding garden birds extends their longevity. See, we're just swapping buffaloes for elephants and backwards and forwards here. This is amazing. Probably. My brain now goes straight past the logical, well, they've got more food, they'll live longer, and straight onto things like, if garden birds don't die from food scarcity, will territories become more filled and therefore less birds will reproduce? Or if people are feeding them the wrong things, will it actually decrease their life expectancy? Or my brain doesn't do simple yes no's anymore, thankfully, Julian Thomas. Lucy Cuddy, elephants normally, I did chat about this earlier, sorry if you've just joined us. Average age for elephants to wean is around about 2-ish, but there have been records of elephants suckling till they're close to 10, and that could be the same size as mum. I think female elephants become sexually What's the word? I can't remember the word. That's annoying. I was going to say sexually active, but that's the wrong word. Reach sexual maturity. There we go. That's what I was looking for. And I think when they're around about 8 or 9. So if a obviously that if a well, no, that wouldn't be her baby, would it? No, ignore me. But an elephant the same size as a female with a calf has been recorded suckling. Short version. Zen Bear. Sorry, guide, I don't know your name. Hello, Zen Bear. My name's Kelly. Nice to meet you. It is a UK accent. I'm not sure if you're saying it's intriguing because it's a bit confused with South African and possibly a little bit of Australian thrown in there. But it is indeed a UK accent, but from many, many years ago now. English people say I sound South African now. And South Africans say I sound English. And Americans often say I sound Australian, which is all very confusing. Welcome to the show, Zen Bear. Thank you for joining us. Please do call again. Catherine, have I ever seen common miners eating ticks from animals? I have not seen that. You say you have seen them do that in India. With their population growing in SA, they might become a competition for oxpeckers. They might, Catherine. Can I say this? Let me just check my workings. Yes, I think I can. They're believed to be, well, they are an invasive species, and if an invasive species is in a protected area, they can be removed. So many areas that I spend time in are protected areas. I'm very, very fortunate. So many of those invasive species will have hopefully been removed to prevent this from happening. Outside of protected areas, different story. But I've spent a lot of time, I bird anywhere, but prolonged periods of birding activity are normally in places like Thornybush or the Sabi Sands or the Kruger Park or Madikwe. And if Indian miners are seen in any of those areas, they will be removed, shall we say. Look, this is a lovely camera actually. Look at this gorgeous detail on this skin. Oh. Hi. I'm just going to shush for a minute. That is very, very cool. Let's just be this close to this elephant for a minute. That little one. I feel like I'm sort of part of their group. That little one. Julian Thomas. You're on the board today, Julian Thomas. Thank you for joining us. There is a school of thought that feeding generalist species at garden feeders puts more specialist species that don't visit feeders at a disadvantage. 100%. 100% agree. It's there's always a fine balance to everything. And in really a purist world, no, none of us should be feeding birds, but then you flip around too. If there is an amazing seed tree in your garden that was removed to put your house there, then you have removed those birds' food source, etc., etc. Should you, shouldn't you, shall I, shan't I, will I, won't I? I'm not going to lie, I've currently got 2 bird baths in my garden at the moment. And I have been known to put some seed out. Not often, very infrequently, because my theory behind that is I don't want, I don't know if it's even relevant saying it out loud, makes me feel silly. I wouldn't want birds to become reliant on that food resource, or increase their numbers disproportionately. Does that make sense? But yeah, I sometimes put bird seed out because I like seeing birds, and my house has taken up a piece of area that would have produced grass and therefore grass seeds. So that's my rationale. Stephanie Grunwald, yes, beautiful close-ups of those elephants. I'm not sure if you saw Stephanie, that female, she just lifted her trunk right up to the camera. I feel like I could have touched her. This waterhole's pumping today, as in there's lots of animals not pumping water. Well, it might be pumping water as well. Very busy here today. And the buffalo back.
I feel it is a rosetted morning for us. So yes, let's see what we can find.
Wild Earth has launched a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Visit our website to donate and explore how you can become a founding donor.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. Myself, I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
weather will be quite similar to what I know where I stay. They probably would have also got some fairly late rain, fingers crossed, which would have just given the animals and the grass and stuff a little bit more of a boost before that dry winter really kicks in. I'd be interested to see if this... Ooh, bird just flew past my window. I think that was that little sparrowhawk I've been seeing. Okay, it looks like these buffalo and elephants are departing. I think we might be going to Rose's Pan, but I may have misheard, but we're going somewhere. So let's go and see where we are going. Rosie's Pan, I was right. Everyone's having and it's going to carry on this way. In this dry season, there's going to be so much activity at these pans. And I'm not sure if it's the camera angle, but this is like quite a dark giraffe. Flick, flick. Look at those. The two legs on this side, they look really... Maybe we're just far away from it, but this giraffe looks like skinny. Oh, hello, other giraffe. Is it a young one? I can't... Maybe they just look skinny because they're stretched out at that funny angle while it's having a drink. Let's watch. Let's see how long this giraffe takes to drink. Oh, she's going to go straight in for it. She's really got her nose down in there. She looks like she's got her nostrils in there as well. Did I imagine that, or was her face right in that water? We had a long discussion a while ago about animals that lap and animals that slurp. It was a brilliant question. I enjoyed that very much because I'd never even given it any thought whatsoever. And I did learn in my rabbit hole while I was researching that one that dogs or canines just sort of messily slurp water up with their tongue, but cats are more delicate about it, as cats are normally with most things, and they almost try and attach a stream of water from the bowl or from the water source up onto their tongue and then quickly close their mouths around it, as opposed to canines that just sort of try and lick it up with their tongue. Has she lost the end of her tail? Where's the tassel bit on the end of her tail? You can see there is quite a lot of bare area by some of these pans already. Often you will find areas around pans or dams or water sources is quite squashed because sheer foot traffic. Another tip if you ever get lost in the bush, if you see waterbuck, you might be quite close to a water source. Or the other trick is follow big game paths and follow them in the direction that they get wider in. Game paths will always get wider as they approach water points, because so many animals walk the same route. They will sort of filter in like a funnel system, like off ramps to or from motorways, and they funnel into wider and wider game paths. So if you're looking for water, follow the game path in the direction it's widest. There's lots of game paths all the way into and out of this waterhole at Tau. And look how different this elephant coloration is. Purely because of the substrate that they've been flicking on themselves. This female is right in the mud there as well, hey? Darren, you're asking, do birds find food in all herbivore dung or just elephant dung? It depends what the herbivores have been eating, basically, and it depends on what the birds eat. If you're a seed-eating bird, anything that may have ingested anything seedy, intentionally or unintentionally, could be a food resource. I was thinking, I think giraffe also eats seed pods, but they've got a much better digestive system. It also depends on the animal's digestive system. So it's playing with the water. So your ruminants have a more effective digestive system, so there won't be as much as little Dacre walking past my window. There won't be as much or as many nutrients remaining. I'm pretty sure giraffes eat seed pods, but I've never seen a seed pod in a giraffe poop, because they've got that. They've got different areas of their digestive system. They've got those 4 different digestive compartments, or departments, however you want to phrase it. That all has a slightly different function, and they do an excellent job of removing much of the nutrients. Rhinos, elephants do not have such an effective digestive system, therefore there's more likely to be remains in their poop that may be of use to birds. So this little elephant hasn't got any tusks showing yet. Books do say that you will start to see tusks appear around about the age of 2 or 3, but again, depends on different variables. And some elephants never develop tusks. It's not it's a recessive gene in African elephants. Males and females normally have tusks, but not all of them. And if a tuskless female has a baby, then there's a chance that baby may also remain tuskless. So I wouldn't want to say this baby's under 2 years old because it doesn't have any tusks, because it might never get tusks. I find it quite difficult to age a lot of animals. As a friend of mine once said I don't think they actually said it out loud, but like I don't really know how old it is because I wasn't there when it was born. I'm guessing, and it has happened that, you know, if there's more food availability, the baby can be bigger. If the parents are bigger, then the baby could be bigger. There's a lot of variables. Yes, Mindy, the water level at Tau has dropped dramatically. You can see how quickly it's dropping, and it's going to continue to do so. Let's head over to Hesk. I think we might have something exciting going on with our little cheetah family, who I'm very much looking forward to seeing. Tammy and her 4 beautiful little cubbies. They're changing by the day, these young ones. So they were born 30th and 31st of April. So they're a few weeks old now. And look how much more mobile they're getting. They were like little rolling sausages. I think they're struggling because the straw there is slippy. But the other day these little ones were outside. They're definitely getting a lot more active, very early development stages of these felines. Very important stage in their life for good nutrients, good exposure to things that they may need to be aware of as they get older and carry on growing and developing. But those faces, I honestly don't think I realised how clear those tear marks are when they're so young like that. Look at these two crocs out of the water here at Tau. I think we might head back to Hess just now. We're just having a quick fiddle with that feed there, but lovely to see those little ones even if we don't make it back. Both of these crocs are out of the water, and you know something else I've just noticed on this crocodile? Have I noticed that before? Am I misseeing it? Hold on, I'm going to have to look at a different picture of a crocodile before I say this. Anyone else pick it? I'm sure everyone else would have picked it up before. I've never noticed it. Let me see if I'm right. But I need to look at a different picture of a crocodile. This is why I enjoy this so much. You get time to actually sit and look carefully and actually consider things. If you can hear a flicking book, it's because I'm flicking a book. See, that picture doesn't show it. While I find an alternative picture of a crocodile to see if my guess is correct, let's go back over to Hesk. I think we've got that feed running nicely now. I would like to have a little bit of a longer look at those little cubbies over there. Look how clear those, we call them teardrops or tear marks or whatever you want to call them. One theory behind, you see those very clear, obvious black marks under their eyes? One theory is because technically cheetah are diurnal, active, early morning, not at night time, however you want to phrase it. Apparently those dark lines are supposed to absorb light to help with the glare of the sun. I don't know if that, I'm sure it's possibly got something to do with
It's been a great morning out and about and exploring.
It's amazing. It's very hard to explain what this feels like.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure. Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
Do we? I would imagine they've just been left alone to develop and grow and form those bonds. So these little guys are still spending lots of time sleeping. Oh, is that just some airflow blowing that hay at the front of the entrance there? I was wondering if Tammy was going to head on over back. Oh, those faces are absolutely adorable. I'm sure we are going to start seeing them outside more and more as they get bigger and stronger. They will get more mobile. But she really is doing an excellent job with these little ones. I think let's leave these little ones. I see who is that that's asking? Spasio asking if we know the sex of the cheetah clubs. I don't know. I haven't had an update from anywhere yet. I'm not sure. I would assume they will probably leave them be without doing too much tinkering. And other than fairly close-up examination at that age, I don't know how anyone would tell, to be honest. So back here at the fabulous Tenby Elephant Park. Not quite as many boys here as there were earlier. Definitely getting some excellent use out of this mud pan here. Oh, it looks like there's a big boy gonna join now. And it's time for the dust. They're always so dexterous when they're covering themselves with dust after they've had a lovely mud bath. Okay, I have had an interesting update from Serendella. There is quite frequently buffalo at Serendella. I was curious, so I've got an inside information. Lovely that we're seeing nice steady buffalo flows there. And I would also like to congratulate Alfie on passing his level 2. Absolutely brilliant. Alfie was my tracker many years ago and I am super proud of him. So well done. An excellent achievement. Moonbeam Smith, that is a really interesting point. I've also never ever seen that. Moonbeam Smith is saying elephants do so much for each other, yet I've yet to see them put mud on each other. Nor have I. Not even cows and calves. I would love to hear from anyone that has seen that. Has anyone ever seen an elephant put mud intentionally on another one? I would have thought maybe cows would do it to calves if they were struggling, because we know calves can be a little bit sporadic in their spraying of mud. They often miss bits, and I'm actually surprised that a mum wouldn't sort of say, "Oh, don't be so ridiculous, you've missed this bit and you've missed this bit." But that is a really interesting point, Moonbeam Smith. I also have a wildlife lady. It's mud bath party time. Mud, dust, pick your substrate. This boy has got lovely big tusks. We were talking about that. Look how dexterous, look that, how that is. We were talking about these big tuskers of Tenby yesterday. I also did some homework around rainfall. Tenby does indeed probably, it's really difficult averaging out rainfall. A couple of 100 mils more than we do in this low felt area. Could also have an impact on how green it stays there year round. Look, I love the way he sort of pushes that dust onto his trunk. Watch, watch, watch. See if he does it again. Oh, he's just picking up and throwing now. that's enough of that. He's going to be moving on. I still haven't established exactly what the main bedrock is in this area. I would be interested to know that. Could also have an impact on the greenery and different vegetation that's is there a big bird at the back there? What's that? There's a big bird. No, right to the right of the elephant. Is it that woolly neck stalk just to the right of there? A little bit further back. I think it was probably that woolly neck stalk walking around there. Mowiti, yes, that boy did have a very nice set of tusks. There are some lovely big tuskers that are found here in Tembe. And I actually, someone directed me to Craig, huge big tusker bull, not from Tembe. I think the big Tembe tusker is Solo, I think, it began with I. But I was stunned. I actually had a look at Craig the tusker yesterday. Anyone that's listening that isn't aware of Craig the tusker, pop over there and have a look. Thank you to anyone that has recently joined us, and we are carrying on enjoying some elephants. What are they? Are they geese? Are they Egyptian geese back there? Oh yeah, they are. They looked taller and skinnier from back there, but clearly they're not. They're definitely Egyptian geese. Ronnie Sue 313. It's super cool watching how they do that. I really enjoy watching how they're so dexterous with their trunks, and their feet, and the way they can use those trunks for anything from picking up tiny seeds to pushing over huge branches. Ooh, we've got let me just check my workings. This is yes, this is a sable. I just wanted to get a nice side-on colour view. And yes, Ronnie Sue 313. I enjoy watching elephants feed. If they use their feet to dig up sort of foliage, they will use their feet for that as well. Sorry, this sable, this is an impressive antelope. This is a super impressive animal. I've only actually seen sable antelope. I think I once saw one in Madikwe from a distance. I think.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Best sighting I've presented. I found myself with wild dogs. We chased the dogs around, chased them around. They ate an impala. We got the end of that. Then another impala went into Gowrie Dam down the road there, and the wild dogs went around. Eventually the impala came close to the bank. One wild dog went and grabbed it and then just pulled it out and just did what wild dogs do. It was an emotional experience, but it was very, very special.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed colour.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
I've never looked at a crocodile. You just sort of look and, you know, you see crocodile and you see, I don't know what to call them. Scales? They're not even really scales. I'm not sure what to call them. Sticky uppy bits on its tail. I've never looked for long enough to notice that nicely. I'm not sure if that's a young sable or a rowan. Is there any more around? I'm gonna guess it was a young sable, but I've never seen a young sable, if I'm completely honest. So everyone that's listening, please confirm for me that was a young sable. A baby sable. I would love to head back across to town. I would like to revisit that crocodile's tail if we could. After my dreadful definition of scales and bumps and triangles, if we could find those crocodiles again and have a look at them, that would be fabulous. I think that was a young sable. Okay, let's have a nice close look at that. Bundu, yep, that was I thought so, Bundu. Thank you very much for confirming. That is what made sense to me. But it wouldn't be the first time I've gone, oh, that's a whatever, and it really wasn't at all. But okay, let me explain. This helps a lot. How do you ever know? Thank you very much for your help, Bundu. It's appreciated. I've never seen a young sable before. Have a look at that. I suppose they're called. They're not even scoots. They're what tortoises have. The things on the top of that crocodile. That start. Their body is just is flat, and then from its back leg, You see along the line across the top of its thick part of its tail, it starts to, I don't know what they're called, are they? They're not scales. What are they? I'm going to ask a friend what they're technically called. But they flatten out to either side, and then as the tail starts to slim down, they become just one, so it turns into like a fin. Which would make complete sense. So they can cut through the scoots, Bundu bee. I thought they were called scoots. I said that, but I've never heard them called that before. I've only ever heard them called that on tortoises. Bony sort of plates on the top of a tortoise. I don't think I've ever heard them called that on top of that's right though. Thank you. Thank you for Googling on my behalf, Bundu bee. I don't like, I don't enjoy using internet searches to find things out for some reason. If I'm doing research, I try and go through one of the scholar sites, because you just don't know what's out there. I never know what or where to trust anymore. Whereas if you go with peer review papers, you're in with a bit of a chance. But things like I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, the well-known search thing that begins with W, I think anyone can go in and change anything on that. I never know who to trust anymore. Okay, I have had an additional shout from possibly someone I would trust more than Google. Is osteoderms, which is not a word I've ever heard before. But whatever they are called, I find it interesting the way they change shape and positioning in order to complement the crocodile's movement through the water. Flat for power, and then sticking up along the flat part of the tail. Because basically osteoderms are bony structures in the skin, so it could be either or, I guess. But short version, I've never noticed how they change trajectory before. Wendy, you're asking, is crocodile poaching a big concern in Africa? I'm going to say yes. I think it would be. Any sort of, in this area, I've never heard sort of face to face or been approached with or been made aware of any sort of a story or incident that has involved crocodile poaching. That does not mean it doesn't happen, and it also means that my knowledge of other countries across Africa is not brilliant. I can research things, but Africa's massive, and I have not even scratched the surface of it. So I don't think, without checking alternative sources of information, I would be prepared to say one way or the other, really, across the rest of Africa. Any poaching of any type is a concern. To be honest, there's probably, I think, there's a lot of crocodile farms. So in South Africa anyway, there's So whether or not resources from crocodiles are mostly sourced from farms, which would eliminate any poaching concerns. I think yes, absolutely, that would be great. Let's go over to Founders and have a look at the rhino while I continue to think out loud about crocodile poaching. I'm going to say yes, Wendy, because there's poaching everywhere of almost any species and it's all a concern. But I do know there's a lot of crocodile farms, which I believe would meet a lot of the crocodile requirements. But overall, Wendy, I'm going to say yes, but just using lots and lots of words to do so.
This unfolds in front of you.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change. Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild.
I love how peacefully rhinos do a lot of things. They just don't rush. They take time to enjoy the mud. There's some lovely reflections on this camera as well. Nina Brown, you're asking how similar is rhino, elephant and hippo skin? That's a really good question. I think hippo would be, my gut is telling me, I don't know the exact structure of every epidermal layer on all of those animals. Obviously, but all animals have sort of different thicknesses of skins depending on where it is on their body. My gut is telling me that hippo skin is going to be slightly different. I think they've got those sebaceous glands that excrete that sort of, this rhino's going to lay down. So that aspect would be different. I'm just trying to think if I'm sure rhinos probably have sebaceous glands as well, because I think most animals have sebaceous glands. But I think hippos is going to be the most different, I would have thought. You can see elephant skin is much more crinkled or wrinkled to increase that, it increases that surface area. If I had to guess, again, my gut will tell me that elephant skin is probably the thickest. Hippo skin is probably the thinnest or the most sensitive. And then rhino's, the middle one, would be what I would think. This rhino's going to scratch on this rock here. I could have done with this rhino this morning. I was desperately trying to move some rocks, and it makes me laugh. There's a big rock at the top here of founders on that sort of little mound, and rhinos rub it and it just rolls around like it was nothing. The power in these animals is insane. Zen Bear, rhinos have a well-placed defensive horn. They do indeed have a well-placed defensive horn. There are, I think it's 1 or 2 rhino species with just the one horn. But our rhinos, black and white here in southern Africa, both have, look, he's scratching his lip on that rock. Very well-placed defensive horn. So in females, it's often used to defend herself against males or other females. Doesn't happen too often, but it's not impossible that 2 females would bump heads, so to speak, and males would use it to fend off rivals when it comes to breeding rights or defending a territory. Moonbeam Smith, are those ribs or wrinkles? I want to say ribs. Well, not ribs, like underlying coverage of internal structure, as opposed to so skinny you can see their ribs. They don't have folds like elephants do. I just want to have another. Oh no, maybe the back. There's a couple of little crinkles there at the back. But I think it's in the shade now. I think you can probably see the rhinos are solid. They're absolutely solid. So like you would see in. I'm trying to think what else you might see it in. So I would say they're crinkles. The back 2 lines are probably crinkles, and then the rest is sheer power folded over an actual physical structure. So this rhino is not sort of so skinny you can see its ribs. It's just a peak physical demonstration of perfection, in my opinion anyway. Something I did notice quite a few years after I started guiding though Moonbeam Smith is wildebeest. Wildebeest have stripes. I don't know if anyone else has ever noticed the stripes on a wildebeest. I hadn't for ages, and I used to think, oh, maybe it's how they're turning or how the light's hitting them or something. But even if you look at sort of a wildebeest pelt, you can see an element of stripes on it there. So for want of a better example or better discussion, this is a female rhino. It's her top under eye tail is her anus, and then the chunk down the middle there is her vaginal opening. So this is where people say, oh, you see a thick line or a thin line between their legs. This is this female's genitalia, and this is what I look for if I'm trying to sex a male or a female, because you won't obviously see that in a male, and there will be some protrusion underneath between his back legs there. So just in case it almost bothers me a little bit when people say, oh, you'll see a thicker black line. That's a female's genitalia. So we don't need to beat about the bush, seeing as it's such a lovely shot. But on that note, we are just about at the end of the show. There have been some brilliant questions today, as always. Huge thanks to everyone that has joined us. Wendy, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But hopefully I will talk to you all again soon. I think that's physical structure. Maybe I think that is actual physical structure, not crinkles. But please do keep enjoying these fabulous cameras. I've become very fond of Serendella's camera today. Keep an eye on those little cheetah cubbies. We are going to start seeing their personalities start to blossom very, very soon. And have a fabulous weekend, everyone. Please do stay safe out there. I am elsewhere trying to rehome some puppies tomorrow, so I will not be around, but I will be back with you soon. Have an amazing weekend. Stay safe out there. Keep an eye on these cameras, and I will talk to you all again soon. Take care.
Thank you.